Hey there, YouTube land, and happy 31 days of Halloween. And today we are going to be reviewing the movie Waxworks. I got designers, my camera girl, and
your caffeine, sir.
Ah, yes, and Matthew here to do the review with me. Waxworks is a movie by Anthony Hickox, who also did the sequel, which I really want to get and see because I haven't seen it since the old VHS days. The movie Waxworks starred Zach Galligan, Deborah Foreman. Deborah Foreman, of course, was Muffy in the original April Fool's Day. Michelle Johnson, who, if you want to see her in less clothes, watch Blame It on Rio with Michael Caine. And Joseph, well, all right.
I haven't seen Blame It on Rio.
Dana Ashbrook, who, of course, played on Twin Peaks, which is coming back. And Miles O'Keefe, who was a big actor back in the day, played Tarzan in a Tarzan film. Patrick McNee, who, of course, is from the Avengers.
Yeah.
And David Warner, one of the classic actors of all time. It is a fantastic little film, and Matthew's going to give you a little run-through.
Oh, yeah,
talking about the movie, what his thoughts are.
So, essentially, there's this kid, sort of he's a rich, guy, but he's not the super spoiled rich guy. In fact, he's got a kind of, from what we see, a pretty controlling mother and stuff like that. And he's having troubles with his girlfriend, whose name I kind of forget, actually, a little bit, because she was not the most important. But because she's also rich, but she's also very snobby and pretentious. So her and him and a bunch of their friends go to this wax house, basically, which the owner had previously invited them to.
A Waxworks display.
Yeah, Waxworks.
Come after midnight.
Come after
6 people.
No more than 6. But when they get there, everything goes from being a normal horror movie to being strangely an anthology in a weird but cool way. Because every single one of the Waxworks displays is, in its own way,
a dimensional portal.
Yeah, essentially a dimensional and a time portal, which leads to the place that it's depicting.
Oh, we have the first one. The werewolf one is the first one, and it starred John Rhys Davies from Sliders and the Indiana Jones films.
It was really cool. It was a nice way to start things off. Yeah, there's a lot of really good designs in this. Some that don't even come into play whatsoever. In fact, you only see for the ending 10 minutes of the film, which is still cool because they're really well.
You want to see more prequels and sequels.
Yeah, there's even a few situations where even when you see someone go into the display, they enter the story essentially. But there's a few times where we just see people either just pushed into the display or go into the display, and then we see their body end up in the display, so you can find that they died.
And you want to see more.
An earlier scene where you find a police officer goes through his records and notices that a lot of the victims on display on the Waxworks displays are missing persons, which once again it's interesting, especially when there's little cute references to Little Shop of Horrors and things like that, which you don't get to see too much in depth. There's several that that weird freaky mutant creature in the Carnival Freak Show, which you see a little bit, would have been awesome to get a story about. So I want to see stuff like that.
How do you find the second anthology story, the one on Dracula?
Dracula?
Miles O'Keefe.
I usually don't like Dracula anything, but I thought it was okay. It was pretty good. I don't. I mean, have you ever read the original Dracula?
You have to watch the Hammer films.
Yeah, that's true.
Miles O'Keefe plays Dracula in this one.
Yeah.
And it's played very much for laughs. And I think that's really kind of cool.
Yeah.
It's very dark humor. There's a guy on a table with half his leg eaten off. And he's like a stiff Englishman and he's trying to be brave. And there's a rat eating his leg. And there's several scenes where there's a fight around the table. Yeah, a knife gets shoved into his stomach.
Yeah.
The guy reaches over. And when he does, he lands on Buddy's open leg wound, and Buddy's just basically screaming for a bit.
Yeah,
it's really cool. It would be done with Bruce Campbell in the sequel.
Yeah, the weirdest of the stories, I have to say, is Marquis de Sade, which is not a character you think of when you think, let's look at super horror. stories.
But he was really good, that actor, I gotta say.
Yeah, the story was a bit like out there for like considering what we'd seen so far. But
in a 50 Shades of Grey world, it's not so out there after all.
That's true. But as you said when we were watching the film, some of those lines, like when he comes in and he like figures out how to essentially beat the Waxwork display, which is don't believe in them, and he goes up to the Marquis de Sade and like basically dares him to strike him, saying like, "Come on, hit me, or do you want to look like a coward?" and stuff like that. Can the Marquis de Sade not only hit little girls, not fight like a man?
That was a really good line.
And
I love that. In a real,
yeah,
I love to see it in an actual Marquis de Sade film.
And he ends up like whipping right through him and stuff like that, proving him to be like powerless at that point in time, which was pretty damn awesome, especially for like a more weird scene for a horror movie.
The movie has a great free-for-all fight at the end with a bunch of classic monsters. And I have to say right now, I'm going to go on record with this one. This is this ranks in my list now of movies to watch on each Halloween.
Yeah, it's really, really good.
It really hits all the horror characters. It has a great combination of black humor and just horror. And it is a classic. I mean, like Trick or Treat, Halloween, all those. But this one, guys, ranks in the top 10 of movies that you should watch on Halloween.
Yeah,
it really has that feel.
It's definitely one that, like, it's definitely good to watch around Halloween, especially with all the different horror stories and horror characters popping up and all the references to other horror movies, which is really fun.
Because that's the cameraman, she thought, of the movie.
I didn't pay attention.
You didn't pay attention at all? You didn't see any of it?
She's playing Town of Salem again.
You have to watch the movie!
There's so much.
Okay, let's give our rating on this one here.
Alright, we do it out of 5 as usual. I'm going to say 4, at least. 4.5, actually. 4.5. I'm quoting that. I really like it.
That is a really big thing for Matthew to give a 4.5 for
I'm
anything.
pretty, like, stingy when it comes to stuff. But I really like this one. I think it's really fun. You said the second one, you back and forth on how good the second one is. I want to see it now, though.
It takes a long time for me. I don't remember it at all.
I think that's probably, like, of the ones that I know on this set, this is probably going to be the best one.
But well, I gotta say, for me, it's a 5 out of 5. It's a Halloween classic.
It is.
It
really,
really gets the mood, and it really got me in the mood for for horror movies and horror movie watching. This is one to start with, and basically be a primer to go into like some other stuff.
Oh yeah,
it's some really great stuff to watch. Put it on your Halloween list and put it on your close to Halloween time, because it's gonna be one of those ones that's really gonna get you pumped for all those ghosts and ghoulies that are out there.
Especially if you like anthologies like myself. I love anthology stories. And this is a good mix between a normal like horror and an anthology. So
even if you don't like anthologies, it's still
that's why it's pretty goddamn awesome right here.
So for me right now, my caffeine is all gone, so it's time for tea.
It's my party, I could cry if I want to.